Yes guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. We just finished the game 3-1. I don't know where to really start on this one. Absolutely incredible 80 minutes. Everything you wanted, everything you needed. I'll get into the game specifics in a minute, but in reality, I've got to be honest, walking out right now 3-1, sucker punch at the end. I think it was their first and only shot on target. I know there was a couple of chances, a one half chance that they had in the first half where Bentancur lost his man. But at 3-0, I think the game's dead. At 4-0, which it should have been, the amount of chances we created, the amount of half chances and also decent chances, we should have been going to Bodo next week 4-0 up, and at that point you think there's very little jeopardy, there's very little chance for anything really to go wrong. And then you end up with just a 2-goal lead, and I think it's absolutely game on. It's absolutely game on right now. This is not dead, it's not done, it's not over. It ain't over. And I don't really know how I feel. Honestly, like I say, 15 minutes ago, when it was 3-0 up, or 20 minutes ago, 3-0 up, 10 minutes to play, everyone's happy, everyone's jubilant, the songs are singing, the crowd today was spectacular from the get-go. The club did a fantastic effort, made a fantastic effort giving everyone flags in the east, north and west stand, and us in the south were given greenest club in the country, 20,000 plastic bags, most of them probably going to be out on the street in about 20 minutes time. Odd, but either way, the tifo, I haven't seen it, but I imagine it was good. The noise was belting, absolutely deafening. Losing my voice, as you can tell. It was one of those nights where you get the goal in the first minute and it just makes everyone go, oh, come on, now go again. And if I'm entirely honest, guys, I was really interested by the team lineup. As I heard it, Lucas Berghvall out. I'm hearing rumours that he's out for the season, unconfirmed. I don't know if there's truth in that or not. You might know by now. I don't know. But probably a big hit. I think that's a big loss. If he is out, it's a big deal. Bissouma comes in, Bentancur and Maddison is the starting three. And then on the left-hand side, you had Richalison, who was a surprise entry for me. I wasn't sure if we were going to play some sort of 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, if we were going to go for it in that direction. I didn't really know. There was no width, no sort of direct take on specialists. You had Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side and Big Dom Solanke up the top end. So I was sitting there going, are we going to be narrow? Is there going to be some sort of sacrifice in starting in that strategy, in that shape? And if I'm entirely sincere with you, I was okay with it on paper, but at the same time I'm sitting there thinking, why are we experimenting again in such a crucial moment? Udogie was fine, Matisse Tell was fine, obviously Sonny was out, and the back four and the goalkeeper picked themselves. Udogie, Micky van der Ven, Romero and Pedro Porro. So I'm sitting there wondering how it's going to shape up, how it's going to go, and then the game starts after the kind of all the drama and all the theatre beforehand. Everyone was in an unbelievable mood. I've never heard a noise like it. For me, in the 20 minutes, half an hour before the game, I'll hopefully be able to put this together into a compilation for like a match day watch along or whatever you want to call it, a game day vlog. And I think hopefully I will have captured some of that noise beforehand. It was bouncing. It was probably the loudest I've ever seen it in a pre-game, louder than the Liverpool in the first leg of the Carabao Cup. And I just knew that the club and the team and the fans were all unified behind the same output, behind the same end goal on this particular one. Interesting team lineup. The game starts, and look, what a perfect way to start. Richalison wins the ball, flicks it back across goal. Absolutely sensational lack of selfishness from him. And he justifies his place in the team almost instantly. Well, at least that's what I'm initially thinking. Puts it across, and Brennan Johnson, who, to be entirely honest, guys, I've said this 15 times, I promise you I won't say it again. Johnson did what he does over the 90 minutes. He can pop up and score a goal, a vital goal, a crucial goal. His output is undeniable. You know, you can't argue with his output. But in terms of what does his inclusion in the team offer outside of finishing up someone else's move, haven't learned or seen anything more from him today in that regard. Very little. Lots of getting up the right-hand side, lots of flicks over the top from Pedro Porro, who I thought was exceptionally good today. I thought we'll come to the second goal in a moment, but I thought he was the best of the back three. Destiny Udogie, for me, offered lots more down the left-hand side, but this is what we've come to expect from Tottenham. Most of the time, if you only have one winger that can take on, or even on today's example, no wingers that can take a man on, then Tottenham look to revert to type, and we go down the left-hand side where we try our best to take players on. And today, after Richalison scored his first goal, in the rest of that first half, after Richalison did well for the first goal, for the rest of the first half, for me, my memory, and again, I'm watching it live and it was down the other end of the pitch, so forgive me and you disagree if you want, let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button, by the way, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop your comments, let me know where your stand is right now and how we sit in this delicately poised Europa League semi-final at half-time stage. For me, Richalison in everything but that first minute was a little bit wasteful. I think he worked hard. I think Dominic Solanke worked hard. But in terms of the amount of times, just give me a few minutes, guys, the amount of times that the ball was down his side, could he have done more with it? Yes, he could. I remember 2 or 3 times where ball comes to his feet, he's got space. That right back was there for the taking. He could have been spread on a bit of toast and really chewed up if Richarlison had the ability, the confidence and the desire to take players on. It's not really his game, and that's why I sit there and think, outside of that first minute, was it the right decision to start with him? Should Matisse Tell have come in? I don't really understand why we were experimenting. For what it's worth, Matisse Tell did eventually come on in the second half, and when he did, once again, for me, this guy is growing and getting better and better and better. Again, no output. It's the tale of 2 types of wingers. You have players in this team that are good with their output, not so good with the input, and players that I believe are creating opportunities, creating moments, clever footwork, clever intricacies, and nice relationships that are being forged between people like Matisse Tell and people like Destiny Udogie at the back, or even Decky in the second half later on. Nice little kind of connectivity and triangles that were being forged. And for me, that is more valuable in the main part, in the most part, as long as somebody at some point is going to finish that move. And as I say, Brennan Johnson for me did one great thing. Richarlison did one great thing. I thought all the front 3 tonight, despite getting 3 goals to the good, I thought all front 3 were a little bit off. Again, not really at the races to the best of their ability. That said, once you go 1-0 up in the first leg at home of a European semi-final, the fans wanted more. The fans were restless. And from about the second minute until about, I guess, the 15th, 20th minute, the way we were sort of talking about it around us was there was a little bit like, it felt kind of statuesque. Like I was saying, we're supposed to be the Yid army, not the terracotta army. Everyone was kind of like a little bit standstill. Both Bodo, who sat back and tried to absorb, which is a little bit counterintuitive to what you would expect from them. They are a team that is known as the kind of kamikaze football team of Norway, but they didn't play in that style tonight. They were very resilient and reassured, and to be honest, they kept their heads up and stayed in the game despite being 3-0 down. But for that sort of 20-minute phase of the first half, it all felt very kind of walk in the park, like we were playing walking football. I wasn't really happy, but we got the second goal that started with an unbelievably brave bit of classy defending from Micky van der Ven that does that, is it the Cruyff turn in the pocket, largely unnecessary, you could make the argument, but it created a little bit of space for him, and then he flicks it out to Pedro Porro, who looks up and puts this delicious ball over the top. It wasn't for the first or last time that night. It was, I think, attempted about 7 or 8 times further on. None of them after this moment were quite as good as his first one. James Maddison makes a brilliantly timed run over the top, and then does what James Maddison is just fantastic at doing, right? The ability and his technical skills, his techers, to bring that ball down, knock it to the right-hand side. The defender that was following him had to make a decision. Does he go with the player, or does he go after the kind of decoy run of Dominic Solanke, who again worked tirelessly on the night to try to help the team and didn't really do or get enough opportunities for himself outside of the third goal, which we'll come to in a minute. But that first touch from Maddison was sensational. He takes it to the right-hand side, and by that point the goalkeeper comes out, and then you've got 2 Bodo players. I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name, so I won't even bother trying. Both of them are unlucky a little bit with the positional sense, as Maddison kind of scuffs it a little bit, but also puts it deliberately towards the bottom locker, and we go 2-0 up, and then all of a sudden we come alive. After that, it was, I'd say, largely all Tottenham Hotspur. I haven't got the momentumometer details in front of me, but once we went 2-0 up, it was a matter of time until we got the third. and it came from a penalty. Romero, I think it was following a corner, not entirely sure, I could be wrong, guys. I had a couple of beers and I'm a little bit kind of just wiped out from the whole occasion, and the heat today, it's been absolute belter. I'm sweating, my eyes are actually like stinging from the sweat that's running out of my eyebrows here. Crazy. And I'm not built for this weather. I'm built for I'm built for Bodo. Anyway, didn't see what happened with Romero. Didn't get to see the VAR replay. It was blacked out. I couldn't see anything. But then we saw there was a delay, and then eventually we see the ref go to the monitor, and then we come back, and James Maddison does a brilliant thing. I thought, he's holding onto that ball. If he's doing the old protective thing, he's holding onto it for quite a long time. Has he put his hand up? Has he taken the captain's armband and run with that authoritarian thing? No, of course, he was just protecting it for Dom Solanke. And the second time in 2 European fixtures, he's put it down the middle for all intents and purposes. He hasn't really tried to place it into the corner and make it unsavable. He's taken the easy option, but he's tried his best to make the goalkeeper pick a side and then eventually sticks it in. What I would say about that penalty strike, he's got away with it twice, but neither the first at Frankfurt or the one today really sort of came across as incredibly composed, or no, wrong word, confident. It felt like he was removing as much risk, as much jeopardy as possible from the situation and hoping that the goalkeeper was going to pick a decision and go the right way. And then this time round, the goalkeeper didn't dive, but he was just off balance slightly. So you could make the argument that he saw the goalkeeper lean one way and then took it, but it wasn't a great pen. But you go 3-0 up, again, jubilance. Everyone's relieved, everyone's happy, the songs are singing, and it's just a wonderful position to be in. And after that, we were urging for 4. We're sitting there thinking, it's Tottenham in the final and it's Manchester United in the final. From what I saw, they won 3-0, or they were 3-0 up at half-time, and Bilbao down to 10 men away from home. So you would expect Man United to be, probably there. And I was thinking that it's going to be us. It's going to be an all-English final, and it is what it is. Can we beat Can we beat United for a 4th time this season? I'm asking the guys around us how they feel. Who would they have preferred? Most of them were saying Bilbao, because they don't think that Tottenham are going to be able to beat United for a 4th time this season, and it would just be Spursy to, for the one time that it matters that we don't get there. But all of a sudden, I think it was like the 78th minute, after wave after wave after wave of Tottenham just comfortable, but not turning the screw. It felt like we were sort of lackadaisical, wrong word, I'm struggling with my words tonight. I just felt like it all felt too easy. I don't think we had a single chance conceded against us. I remember in the first half, I think it was one chance that Bodo had, where I think it was from a corner, or maybe it was from a late cross in, and Bentancur loses his man in the 6th. I've been saying this, you have to kind of keep your eye on Bentancur when we do have the ball, when we don't have the ball. How close and how touch tight is he to the threat from deep in that role? It's crucial that you're paying attention at every moment, and he switched off, and the Bodo guy smashed it over the top. But that was basically it. Until the 80th minute. They didn't have another chance on target until they broke free, and then again, other end of the pitch, difficult to really see exactly what happened. I presume it took a deflection, and one shot on target, 1 goal conceded. You only need 1 chance against Tottenham, and that is a problem. For what it's worth, I've been quite harsh on Bentancur for the last for quite a while. I've been saying to you guys, I don't think he's as good as a lot of you guys do. I don't think he's the solve for our problems next season. Tonight, I thought he was the best midfielder. I thought he was incredibly good with the ball at his feet. As I say, apart from that one mistake where we almost sort of gave away a half chance I think it was the first half. Apart from that, I thought he was really good. I thought he had enough space to operate, and even in tight control, I thought he drove the ball forward. Bissouma behind him gave him a little bit of confidence to be able to spread his legs and pick the passes, knowing that if there was any interceptions, if there was any sort of transitions in play, that he did have his mate next to him who's more disciplined in that 6th role. I didn't think Bissouma was sensational on the night. I didn't think anyone was particularly sensational on the night. And as I say, I think Bodo were there for the taking. That there is a level between the two teams, at least when they're not playing at home. And tonight, despite not being at our best, to have got 3 goals up in the lead, in the 3-goal lead in the game, I felt like there was another gear, or even 2 gears, that Tottenham could have gone into if you really wanted to put the game to bed. We chose not to. We chose to sort of just not be silly. And I understand it. You don't want to necessarily give away too much risk. But in the end, even doing that, even playing that kind of composed, relaxed, let's sort of chew up some time, and if we get a chance, we'll push for a fourth, but we're not really desperate right now. Even doing that model, there was a sloppy giveaway, and then Bodo pounced, and as I say, one chance is all it takes. For me, I'm not going to go through every single team, every single player. I'd say that the top two stand-up performers today were Porro and Bentancur. I thought they were very impressive relative to everybody else. I thought Maddison's takedown was sensational. Apart from that, it wasn't spectacular. From the subs, what we saw on the subs, I thought Matisse Tell was energetic, and as I say, created some triangles, created some movement, and his relationships that he's developing on that side of the pitch are very good. But to me, this isn't a night where I'm going to criticise Ange. We're 3-1 up in the leg. I'm not sitting here trying to be bemoaning the situation that we're in, but I do think that there was an opportunity there to go and put the tie to bed. 4-0. Destiny Udogie gets a chance late on in the 90th minute and decides to have a P-roller shot. Seemed a little bit silly, a little bit selfish. I'm not sure how I would describe it, but there was other options available that had he found one, looked up and picked it, it would have worked out. Maddison, I thought, as I say, he was handy and useful and creative. Again, we had more corners than a dodecahedron, and for me, I don't think we took advantage of it. Solanke, not known for his heading skill set, obviously following what happened against Liverpool, now got a bit of confidence. His timing of his jumps looks a little bit better. But given the standard of Bodo, with all their players missing, that's why I feel a little bit deflated. 3-0, I'm happy. I'm going home happy, thinking, all right, now we've got something to protect. We can go there. Yes, you've got the 4D pitch. Yes, it's going to be cold. Yes, their fans are going to be up for it. And they were fantastic as well tonight. They obviously weren't happy with the first goal going down, but when they got their first goal, when they got their goal, they came alive. And I think that those fans leave here tonight thinking we're very much still in this. And that, to me, is where my frustrations are. It didn't need to be this way. Sloppiness in moments and a lack of kind of engine, lack of oomph that, to me, I just, as I say, I can understand the mindset of don't throw the baby out with the bathwater here. You've got something, just keep working. Bodo are probably going to be likely to now have to step up and come out, and then you can pounce. So I can understand the logic behind it, but in terms of how it manifested, it didn't really kind of come off. And obviously now the game's only got a 2-goal lead. If we go there and concede one early, like they did tonight against us, squeaky bum time, guys, squeaky bum time. Selfishly, I'll say I'm kind of happy, because there's a lot of jeopardy here, and obviously that gives me something to feel energised about going out there next week. But just from a football club perspective, I thought the fans were spectacular tonight. Absolutely, from all 62,000 of them, absolutely spectacular. The noise downstairs earlier was incredible. The team selection was interesting, something that I'm going to think about and chew over tomorrow with you guys on a live stream, no doubt. And the efforts of individuals, I thought it just wasn't quite enough. And yet, despite that kind of second gear approach, we still just sort of churned that butter into something that gave us a really healthy lead. But I think there was a chance to really put this tie to bed. We didn't take it. I'm not devastated, but I am a little bit winded, I think is the phrase. I feel like someone's punched me in the gut, and I just need to catch my breath a little bit on it, because I know that you can twist this story however you want. If you want to be positive, you can be super positive. If you want to be super negative, and I'm sure there will be some that will go that way, I'm not saying either. I'm very impressed with the scoreline. I was impressed with the performance overall, and I was surprised by the approach that we took. But I do have some thoughts and some things I'm going to have to think about overnight and come back to you tomorrow around how I feel about the team selection. What does it mean? Why did we do it? Was it the right call or the wrong call? I'm not saying that anyone that was on the pitch was necessarily wildly better or worse than what we saw from the substitutes. I just think that there was a lot of surprises, and whilst the scoreline was good, I wasn't that overawed with the performances of most of the players. And I think that this game is still very much wide open, and that to me is an unnecessary reality that we find ourselves in. And had we gone a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, had we been a little bit more into it, then this game can be put to bed. Talking about being put to bed, guys, I'm going to jump downstairs and get myself home, because I'm absolutely shattered. The sun has wiped me out today. And anyway, 3-1 it finishes. It looks like Manchester United have got 1 foot in the final. Some will say Tottenham have 2. I'm not saying that yet. I think that there's so much to think about on this one. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Either way, big up the club for putting on a good show. Big up the players for sticking in a solid effort. Big up the fans for bringing your best. But it ain't over, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, bye-bye.